whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we are doing Oliver's new Riptide deck. He's been playing that on camera for a couple, I don't want to say like almost a couple weeks now, right?
I stopped.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about it. You saw a couple of games from it from both the Spark of Genius collab and from his other games testing with friends, and we're just gonna talk about his exploration to Riptide and why he's on full copium right now.
There is no copium. I said
All
Riptide
right.
sucks, and I understand
Okay.
that.
Well, why does he suck? Let's talk about your deck. Why does the deck suck?
Uh, so if you try to build them aggro, you aren't as fast as some other aggro heroes, and if you try and build control, you just can't keep up with the control heroes. As you guys saw with the dash game, if you accidentally break your arsenal, then they just have such a better endgame than Riptide. Guardian is probably still an issue. We haven't played it, mostly because I feel like I already know what the outcome is. There is a video in the queue like a couple days from now of me playing against Yuki with my first iteration of my aggro Riptide list, and I just got absolutely destroyed. Yeah, you just don't go as fast. There's no big 3 of a kind turns. There's no big Rain Razors turns. I guess there's big Rain Razors turns, but it depends off of Endless Arrow, and you need your Snapdragons and Bullseye Bracers. So, yeah, you're just. I retooled the deck to make it more mid-rangey. That's all.
Okay. So yeah, after we have turned you off from ever playing this deck, let's talk about the deck. Uh, so what's the point of this build right now?
The point of the build is to play traps and to attack with maybe 1 or 2 attacks. Falcon Wing lets you go wide or in something, but it's mostly just Enlightened Strike for 7 back, or Heat Seeker for 5, Infecting Shot for 5. These are just, if you think about it, they are quite efficient attacks. They'll probably get you 2 cards out of them, and then eventually you will fatigue out of them. You will fatigue them. So you're spending 1 card to get 2 cards out of them. That is the goal of the deck, and eventually you will try and fatigue them by after you run like 66, 69 cards. Yep, that is pretty much it. Your traps have a pretty good game into aggro. There's a lot of debilitating effects like Target Trap lets you prevent on hits. Boulder Trap lets you kill them faster, I guess, if you just scrap their armor. But the big ones are like Buzzsaw Trap, Collapsing Trap. Those are the best ones. Obviously, they're legendary.
Cool. So let's talk about the cards in your deck then. Why did you choose your equipment suite, and where is Trench?
Trench is in Sideboard, all the way at the bottom. You probably need to run it against some of the control matchups just because if you break your arsenal at the wrong time, then that's your get out of jail free card. Like you saw in the dash game. I do love running Tunic a lot more though, because it makes your 1 cost 5 power arrows so much more effective since you just Tunic attack for 5. Going through the equipment, Bullseye Bracers just lets you go wide. There is some merit to running, what is it called? Ironhide Gauntlets, I guess. With Tunic, just for more block. It's very rare that you would get use like maximum value out of this off of a Bolden Shot, but that is potentially what it's there for. I would just keep this just because it's Arcane Barrier and just synergy with your arrows. You can do like a load up Heat Seeker +1 and then Tunic for 5, or sorry, for 6. Yeah, there's other alternative stuff. Maybe you can run Van Brace. I don't know. But yeah, that Bullseye Braces is fine. There are probably alternatives, but I wouldn't look that deep into it. Death Dealer, because it lets you draw a card. With Trench, this lets you cycle out a card with no card loss. Since the card that you have face down in Arsenal will turn into Death Dealer to pay for Death Dealer. So that is one reason to run Death Dealer over Barbed Castaway.
It's basically kind of seats, right?
Yeah, right? No. But what was I saying? Barbed Castaway does have some cool interactions with like Oasis or paying on their turn. So you can always just what is it? Yeah, if you have like Sigil of Solace, you can trigger Riptide's reload and then pay into like an Oasis or Peace of Mind, and then flip that arrow over to give it an aim counter. That would change some of the arrows that you would run to make it more aim counter friendly, like Immobilizing Shot or Barbed Undertow or something. But I just feel like Death Dealer is just so strong because every time I think about switching to Barbed Castaway, I just draw into like a Scout the Periphery, and then I just be like, oh, this is why you run Death Dealer. Scout the Periphery or Premeditate, and then it just turns into a really good turn. Tunic, just so you can do the 1 cost for 5 or load up Death Dealer for a 0 cost arrow and then keep a card. Just really good in general. New Horizons, there are very rare occasions that you would get a double arsenal. So if you like load up Death Dealer first, you get a card face up, and then Heatseeker will also give you a card if it hits face up. Yeah, it's just so you can have a little bit more leeway into arsenaling certain arrows, or like loading up certain arrows and keeping them there, just like Falcon Wing. If you load up a Falcon Wing, or sorry, if you load up like an Infecting Shot and then you play like a Premeditate or Ravenous Rabble, Scout the Periphery, and then you load up a Falcon Wing, that lets you just go a little bit wider. Codex to Blood Rot also lets you get a free reload. But some people commented on our videos that said run Honing Hood to not break your arsenal, but I feel like New Horizons is just too strong. It's just like the fact that you can get a double arsenal is pretty good, in my opinion. Perch Grapplers, block 2. Quiver of Abyssal Depths, it's just a remembrance. And then I have Snapdragons in the sideboard for dash because T-Bone. I would never run anything else because I like Perch Grapplers block 2, and then Trench. That's the equipment.
Yeah, the Trench is the safety valve, right? Where you break too hard, and then you're like, okay, I'm done with life, and you have to run Trench as a way to cope.
Yeah. Yep.
So it seems like that the general goal of the deck is just to outvalue the opponent, right?
Yep. The problem is with Ranger, you don't have a weapon that can attack, so you need to get as much value out of your arrows as possible.
Gotcha. So if that's the case, let's talk about Bolden Shot and Falcon Wing, since these are the least highest attack arrows in your deck.
They enable you to go wide. I usually block with them early on, and then I remembrance them back with Quiver. So yeah, they are there to synergize with Premeditate, Scout the Periphery. Bolden Shot synergizes with those buffs. Falcon Wing is just there to go wide. So I would probably like in the end game when you got them on a loop, you can arsenal a Falcon Wing pretty safely, and then lets you activate Death Dealer for another arrow. That can strip 3 cards out of their hand. But yeah, also like activating Death Dealer turn 1 to put a Falcon Wing in, and then getting a second arsenal, that's fine because you don't really need to attack. Or if you want to script some cards, you just try to go for like a E-Strike for 7. Strip like 3 cards, 1 for 3. That's pretty good.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So the same with Bolden Shot, right? And I assume that's also why you're running Ravenous Rabble, which is just go wide.
Yeah. Just some go wide options. Sometimes I'm thinking at Ravenous Rabble against some of the matchups where I need to block more, but it's usually in.
Mm-hmm. And so it seems like the only real way you can turn on Bolden Shot is with like Premeditate and Scout the Periphery. Is there any other? Are these mostly also just defensive cards that you use on very rare occasions if you set it up, or is it more like Lexi where you can just kind of set it in your arsenal and then do whatever you want with it?
The Bolden Shot or Premeditate?
Bolden Shot specifically.
Nope, I just throw it out whenever I can. If it lines up with the Premeditate or Scout the Periphery, then I'm pretty happy with that. But otherwise, you're not going to get go again on your bolden shots that often.
Gotcha. So they're just mostly like there to when you really want to get to go again.
Yeah, that's where bullseye bracers comes in at the very end game. That's when I would pop it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And then I assume most of the other arrows are going to be there just for value. Endless arrow, heat seeker, infecting shot,
Yeah.
searing shot.
Yep. And then command and conquer for when you brick your arsenal. E-strike for when you brick your arsenal. Frailty trap frailty in general is pretty annoying for this deck. So you have some ways around it with command and conquer and E-strike.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And so what happens? Or I guess we'll talk about some other choices that you didn't include. So what about stuff like Deadeye or some other pump spells?
You're not really looking into pumping your stuff because that is too many cards to use. I guess they're fine if you want to block with, but you're not going to be keeping a lot of cards in your hand. So the way I imagine this deck playing is like blocking with 2 to 3 cards, then you can shoot 1 arrow at them, and then arsenal card.
Okay, that's fair.
So
cool.
yeah.
Let's talk about the sideboard then. You have fatigue shot and salvage shot in sideboard.
We didn't go over the cracked bauble. The cracked bauble is the fabled. I was just testing that out. I think it's fine because you're going to be pitching that a lot probably. But yeah. And then Codex of Blood Rot.
It should be Plague Hive.
Plague Hive, that's what it's called. I played 1 game with it. I thought it was fine, but I took it out. But it's there if you want it. That's 1 free slot open if you want to take it out. Oh yeah, also the Codex of Blood Rot is good for Ponder token. And then the Pitfall Traps, they are the crew traps. The crew traps, they trigger Riptide damage. They're kind of annoying to play though. I would feel like with more instants you can arsenal it pretty safely. But yeah, going to sideboard.
Yeah, I assume that's what the Sigil of Solaces are for.
Just
to load up arsenal with a crew trap or something else.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Fatigue shot. More for like guardians or something. It's also just annoying to play against, or annoying for some people because for rangers you get to like save 2 to 3 life. I don't know if they're playing battering bolt. For ninjas, not that effective, but it still saves you life if they let it hit. That's the idea. Most people don't really care about the effect, but any life that you can save, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And for rangers especially, right? It takes the 5 attack arrows to a 3 attack, which is much more manageable.
Yeah, but they're gonna be pumping it, so yeah. Salvage shot. I added this in because I'm afraid of Dromai. If you think about it, you can probably kill every single dragon that they put down, but you can't kill every Ashwing. Yes. So this also kills Tomultai. Yes. I know that you're going to aim straight for your New Horizons, so don't depend on it if it's in your arsenal. But yeah, this can kill every dragon except for Dracona Optimi.
So what's your plan against Optimi?
You concede. I don't.
Okay.
I can't. Or you use bullseye bracers and get a 6 power attack and to kill it. But yeah, I feel like Dromai is just going to be an auto concede. I can't see yourself winning this. You're not aggressive enough, and then you don't have any poppers. I guess you have CNC for popping, but yeah, it's the Ashwings that are the issue.
Cool.
But yeah.
And then you have a bunch of defense reactions for whatever matchup that you may need it for, right?
Yep. Yeah, Sigil of Solace is good to trigger Riptide on their turn. Sync Blow is for the block 4. Tripwire Trap is for the block 4. It is a crew trap, so it also triggers Riptide. You can always take that one out. It's pretty hard to get into arsenal. It gets pretty clunky when you have like all crew traps or an all crew trap hand. Those are easily replaceable for like maybe 3 power or 3 block attacks. Just to have more arrows. Boulder Trap supposedly is good in the Guardian, but I mean, are they actually going to attack with their weapon, or are they going to attack you with like Spinal Crush or Crippling Crush? So, yeah, it's good to get put a -1 on Ram's head or something. Remembrance, because people have been talking about putting one remembrance in against Riptide just for like the anti-fatigue, and the way to beat a remembrance is to put another remembrance in. So that's what it's there for. Target Trap, very good against Katsu, very good against people who want to go wide and they have on hits. So I would say Target Trap's my favorite trap out of the rare trap cycle. And then Rockslide Trap is a blue. It's a crew trap, so it will trigger Riptide. They are always going to pay the 1 most of the time, so always anticipate that. Always block as if they are going to pay the 1. Yeah. And then Snapdragon Scalers. Yeah, I already said about Snapdragon Scalers. Yep.
Well, cool. Why would you play this deck?
If you don't want to have fun. I'm just kidding. No, it's a different way of playing Ranger. Usually Rangers are pretty aggro. This Ranger deck is slower. It's mid-Ranger-y. Get it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you have very interesting. You can get very interesting lines of play with Riptide's ability, so you can yeah, you just feel kind of big brain when you abuse Riptide's ability in multiple turns. But I can't see this being a very competitive deck.
Gotcha. So in other words, don't play this to win, play this to have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you have it. Alrighty. Well, that's gonna be it. We're gonna do some more. What's next on our docket for in terms of content?
We're gonna talk about Midwinter Cube, I think.
Yep.
I need to go playtest Give and Take in Dromai. Oh, Give and Take in this deck. I thought about it. You can do a Give and Take loop to fatigue them, but you need to get there first. You need to make them die first, or get into Give and Take range, which is almost impossible. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been playing a lot. After the set got released, I haven't been playing a lot.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of testing early on, but I haven't been doing much since then. I mean, to be fair, we've been kind of busy with pre-release. But yeah, look forward to more gameplay and a couple of limited focus content up ahead.
Yep. That's it from us.